Oh, noise. Oh, it's not this way. Actually, everybody should be doing it. Nina and Gator, good morning. It's going to be pretty, but it needs some repair. I got to fix it. And I think the bottom, you know, contrary to what you guys decided yesterday, you guys were like, don't add nothing to the bottom. I think it just looks plain. So I'm going to add a couple things to it. Plus, we need to touch up some paint spots. So I'm hoping I can get this as closely matched as I can. We're going to cover up some of this paint where it leaked or pulled off because of the tape. And I got some glue spots I need to cover up too. So we're going to work on it and see what we can get done. I'm going to wait on more people to get in here for a minute. I'm taking me a quick smoke break and we're going to get started. Well, that ain't real helpful. I need my paint. Hold on a second, guys. Put paint right here. I may have to go a little darker on this top to cover up everything, and that might be what I do. End up doing instead of matching the paint, just go a little darker on the purple so that we can cover up all the. I don't really want to paint it again, other than a touch up, though. We'll see. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Yes, please do. Please do. Good morning, everybody. It's not really morning here. It's almost noon. It's getting pretty damn close to it. So I found some things I wanted to show y'all. I may have showed you these yesterday, but where y'all at? This right here, I got two butterflies, and these I want to put on them at the bottom. I want to put the two sunflowers with the two butterflies in the middle just to give us something at the bottom where it don't look so plain. So we're going to add these. We're going to add the butterflies. I got to fix the paint. I got to redo these because they won't stay. They will not stay with the rubber cement. They will not stay with the tacky glue. So I got something in store for these bad boys. I guarantee you it will stick with this. Yes, sir. We're fixing to get it to stick. My dad picked up those for me yesterday. He got two of them, so we're fixing to see what we can do to fix this pot. It's driving me insane. I have taped them, I have glued them. That's got to come off too and go up. So we've got a couple things we need to fix. So what's everybody up to this morning? I see two, Gator and Nina. Good morning, GM. Well, GN's in here. StreamYard is always lagging on the people that's in here. It drives me insane. We got some shoot, I wish I would have been able to. We got some stuff we need to repair on the pod. I'm waiting on everybody to come in here. GN, how you doing this morning? Gator, how you feeling? Nina, the last couple mornings, honey, we've been busy as all get out. My dad, y'all, I need I didn't realize it at the time, so I got a big prayer need for my dad as he is he went to see the doctor to check on his rib, and apparently he has a spot on his lung and they don't like it, so he's going today to have something done to find out maybe what it is. I asked him this morning if it was a biopsy. He said he doesn't know. They are leaving at 1 o'clock to head to the doctor. So I will give you guys an update as soon as I know what's going on. But right now, um, I'm just basically hoping for the best right this second. That's all I can do. And it's got me a little concerned and worried, but we'll see. Um, let's hope by the grace of God it's nothing to be concerned about, because that's always the best outcome. My dad has had a spot on his lung since he was little because he used to keep respiratory infections and strep throat and stuff like that when he was a kid. And so he's had a spot on his lung since he was little. But this is a new one that's popped up. We do not know what it is, but we're going to find out hopefully soon. And I just hope it's not cancer. Okay. That's where my mind's at right now. Um, so I'll know more hopefully when my dad gets home today. Right now, I don't know very much to tell y'all. All I can tell you is I got a sick feeling in my stomach, and it's mainly from the worry. So you guys, if you pray, please pray for my daddy. He is, Nina says next month a friend is having a small part of his lower lung removed. It's remarkable what they can do nowadays, right? Um, but we'll see what happens, y'all. That's all I can do. And I don't want to worry before there's a reason to worry, but I'm a little alarmed. So I did not realize that the doctor's appointment he had today was for that procedure. I know he had mentioned it in the just in talking, that I did not realize really until yesterday that they had found a second spot on his lung, because I thought it was the same one that's always been there, and that the doctor wanted to check it out, but apparently not. Apparently he has a new one, and so we're going to try to see what's going on. Um, and all I can do at this point is just hang tight and see what happens. Um, that's where we're at this morning. So I wanted to repair this pot real quick with you guys, and it probably won't take no time, but we're going to repair it anyway. And it gave me a good reason to go live this morning. I was busy earlier today. Me and Dad sat down in the yard this morning and yik yak for 2 hours and having coffee. When I should have been going live, but I waited because Dad and them are leaving, and the kids and I are going to be here this afternoon for a while by ourselves. But they'll be in getting ready for school and all that stuff today. So, um, but he's got to go all the way up to Athens to get this checked, and all I can say is let's just hope that God blesses us and it's nothing to worry about, but we'll see. Um, we'll see. Anytime you got anything going on with the lungs, it's a scary thing. And my dad is pretty damn special to me. He always has been. So I'll be like sick to my stomach until we know what's going on. But all we can do is just pray about it and wait at this point. So got me a little nauseated this morning, but we can just deal with it one day at a time, as they say. One day at a time. We've been having beautiful weather here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move this where I can mix this paint and you guys can actually see me doing something instead of just seeing the pot. I don't care if you see me. Let's see, that's a dark purple. I don't think I want to add no white to it. So let's see what happens, because I think I put just purple in this one. I could be mistaken though. So we're going to add a little purple paint right here. Just a little bit's all we need, I think. And if I find out that I need more, we'll make a change. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm not really worried about this one. But I am worried about this one. The bad spot right here. Y'all can see it, I think. Maybe not. Let's see. We'll see. That's going to be pretty dadgum close. Going over some of these bad spots on this pot. Blue spots. Turning around. Let's flip it over around. Good morning, Yvette. Nina says, hold on, let me go back up. Kathy says, good morning. Nina says, 6 years ago, my neighbor had a double lung transplant. She's doing great now. Good morning, Miss Deb, Nina, and Yvette. Hello, everybody. Y'all welcome to the chat. We're just kind of fine-tuning this pot just a little bit. My medallions, my big silver medallions did not stay. I tried 2 different types of glues. They still didn't stay. So I'm going to fix all the blemishes on the rim of the pot. There's some places where the paint's kind of thin. So I'm going to go over it with a coat of this dark purple, and hopefully it'll blend. It looks like it's going to blend quite nicely. So I got to fix some of this stuff. I'm starting to get real pet peevish about it. Debbie says, sorry I didn't get back on yesterday. My brother has cancer. His friend of his was in my neighborhood and had a gas card for him to get to daily radiation. There are angels on earth. There sure is. And they are usually in the least expected places. It would probably be the people that you would not expect the most that's going to reach out and help you in times of difficulty. And it's the ones that you would expect to help you that don't. So there you go on that one. The rim didn't get done on all areas either, so I'm going back adding some paint to the rim because I don't want all that terracotta to stick out. Going over all these paint spots where that glue has pulled the paint off. So just a little fine tuning this morning on it is all. Turning around here. Yvette says 1. What's 1? I think I went all the way around it. Trying to make sure I got this border painted right, or at least covered. Trying not to get nothing on the butterflies too. So. Just a tiny bit of paint is all I need on this bottom part. Some of these are really loose. I've got to go back and fix them. Some of these flowers are really loose. Ever so carefully. So how is everybody this morning? Come on, somebody say something besides good morning. Everyone doing okay? Anything new and interesting going on? Yeah, I think what I'm going to wind up having to do is what I didn't want to do, but I'm fixing to do it. We're just going to go over the rim. I'm going back over it so it'll all match. It's driving me insane. So we're going to repaint it. Everybody hang tight. I'm just going to repaint it. That way I ain't got to worry about it. Because I don't like the blotches. I'll tell you that right now. The discoloration is too much. So we're just going to paint over it, get it all the same color, and I won't have to worry about it no more. I love you too, Abette. I love y'all. I love each and every one of y'all. I sure do. I love each and every one of y'all. I do. I do. I saw where Ray Epps only got a slap on the wrist for inciting violence on J6. Is that good or bad? Because from what I heard, he was a bad boy when it come to our stuff anyway. Now, I could be mistaken. I know that they were making a really big deal about him being there. Of course, the left is going to make any patriot out to be a demonic person anyway. You know, God forbid you actually love your country and love your flag and love your freedom and love your republic. Oh my goodness, that's against the law, which I think is so stupid. Tommy Timber just went live. He's a Fed. That's what I thought. No, I'm going to worry about the small stuff. I'm anal retentive when it comes to stuff like this. Each pot I'm kind of pouring my heart into. It's not going to ever be perfect for a while. It's going to take me a while to get used to doing the pots and doing it flawlessly, if you want to call it that. But um, but I heard that, yeah, I heard that he was a Fed, and y'all do know that we had January 6th Capitol Police that realized early into January the 6th that this was a setup, right? Even some of the policemen knew and were vocalizing it. Of course, you're never going to see them videos on the news because they want everybody to believe that January 6th was an insurrection, and that way they can get everybody mad at the Trump supporters and Trump himself because, oh my God, he incited a riot. So, but now I tell you what, there were notices going out on Telegram, which I had at the time that I don't have no more because it's just aggravating and too many dadgum notifications. But there was people going out saying that even the people posting about showing up January the 6th to protest, that it was all set up and not to go. And I'd be daggum if they wasn't right. So there was sane people out there warning us about it before it happened. And I'm glad I didn't try to go. That bled just a little much, but I can't get it off now because that butterfly's there. So I don't. I just do them natural. I don't sand them because I'm going to do a nature pot shortly where the bottom of the pot's going to be nothing but leaves, autumn leaves, all in different colors. And so it's going to be interesting. I'm going to get some of them baby pine cones to put on it, some acorns, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a really interesting pot by the time I finish it. And all of that stuff pretty much I can get right here in my yard. Nina says, if the Trump supporters were going to overthrow the government, they would have held weapons, right? The Trump supporters were there to argue again, and I believe in, anyway. I believe firmly that that's why they had them all there. Because if they can't find a reason to lock the Patriots up, then the Patriots don't get locked up, and they were talking too much and spreading too much of the truth around. And they don't care. I don't care. As a patriot, I don't care who. If you're wrong, you're in the wrong. It doesn't matter to me, or should it matter to anybody else? In my opinion, if it's a president, if it's a congressman, if it's a judge, it doesn't matter. If you're wrong, you're wrong. If you don't want to do your job, we can get somebody in there who can do it better than you can. But the way they've got tenures and stuff, that's just like Congress. They could be holding Nancy Pelosi up with her coffin lid, and she would still be able to be up there because there ain't nothing they can do to get her out unless she quits. I can't stand Pelosi. I don't like Schumer. There's a bunch of them I don't like. I only like John Kennedy, Senator John Kennedy, because I like to listen to him talk. That Louisiana accent is so thick in him. I could hear him talk all day long and it wouldn't hurt my feelings none. But otherwise, I don't know that much about his voting style, so, but go on. This is going to be a little bit lighter than it was originally. I'm not worried about it being lighter. I'm worried about it having all them dark blemishes. That's what I don't like. So we're going to paint over the pot and get it even back out. Let's see. Okay, right there. And one thing I like about this acrylic paint is it dries really fast. Especially considering I always do mine outside. Where'd everybody go? I got 9 people in here. There ain't nobody saying nothing. But yeah, it was being warned on Telegram, and Telegram was warning people not to go to January 6th. And considering what happened, I'm glad I didn't go. I don't like to miss a chance of ruffling feathers. But I guarantee you one thing, I'm glad I didn't go that time. And then the Capitol Police are going, you realize this is a setup, right? Talking amongst themselves with other policemen standing there, or Capitol Police. This is a setup. Oh, lost my, thank goodness it didn't hit the ground. I don't care if it messes my jogging pants up or not. I just don't want it to get dirt on the paintbrush. It almost hit the ground. So, while I wait on this to dry, I'm going to fix some of this stuff on the bottom that's loose. I'm just about there because this is smooth. And the beginning part of it that I've already painted is already dry. So, I got to have just a little bit more paint. I ain't got but just a little bit more to go. So, go away. So, who's got something good to tell? Who's got some good news? I went to bed with the chickens last night, y'all. And see, what don't make any sense to me yesterday is I took like a 2.5, 3 hour nap. I laid down at 1 o'clock and I was tired after I got out here cutting wood with my dad. We also moved some stuff around yesterday, so we stayed pretty busy. And by the time I got finished with all that mess, I was ready to put sit my butt down somewhere and relax. And I ended up laying there and falling asleep and got really, really tired. And I was still asleep when the kids come home from school. They woke me up. Actually, my dad woke me up. I vaguely remember the kids coming in, and I remember stirring awake just enough to know that they were there. But all right, that's all of that. I'm gonna tilt this up just a little bit. I done messed up this daggum bottom. I can't stand that now. I got to fix it. Ooh, getting paint on me already. Get off me. I'll get back to the chat in a minute, y'all. I can't read chat and watch this too. Go ahead, Nina. I got you. Go ahead and do what you got to do. I'm here just goofing off. I guess you call it goofing off. Oh no. Today has been a much better day than the weekend was. I just had a really hard time this weekend. Um, I had some things that happened that just kind of broke my spirit a little bit. And let's just we'll leave it at that. Um, there's, I'm going to wait till I know really what's going on before I get into it too much. It's not my dad's stuff though, although that is part of today. I'm just more concerned about it because he's supposed to get ready to go. And y'all pray for my mama too because she's got to have that little. She's got to be worried too. She puts up a good front most of the time, but she does get concerned. I mean, they've been married for quite some time, so I don't think you can live with somebody that long in your life and not be concerned about them being here unless y'all just quit communicating and being married a long time ago and you're only there in spirit kind of thing. And if that's the case, she should have left a long time ago. anyone, not her, anyone that's in that situation. So, so I see we got 7 who hadn't said good morning. I've seen Nina. I saw Lavette. Seen a couple more. Deb is here, which I like seeing her here because she's new and she has returned. Deb, I appreciate you very much because you're a new subscriber, and I love seeing my new subscribers in here. A lot of the people in here are like direct Freedom Family people that I met at the movement, but there's patriots all over the United States, y'all. They just want us to think there's not. So I think that's all I need to do with the paint right now. The sides of this pot, I don't like the discoloration in that side. It's driving me crazy right here on the bottom. So where's the 2 butterflies that are together? Right there. Right here. This is the front. Yes, thank you, Yvette. Oh yeah, GN's here. We got 7. So we probably lost Nina, which dropped us down to 7 again. It's not that big of a deal. Y'all share it on every social media you got, because I am still working on trying to get these numbers up. I would prefer to do it before I go to Florida. I'd like to have the subs I need before we go to Florida. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry. All right, some of these flowers are real loose. I'm gonna double check them. I know one of them is. I got a little purple on some of the butterflies, but that can't be helped with the touch-ups I'm making. One of them that's missing is right there. Today I'm gonna try, and I know it'll work. Dad picked me up some super glue, and we're fixing to use a super glue because everything else I've tried is not working. So let's figure out real quick how this is gonna do. But it should do pretty good. Put that right there. And right there. Lean that tube right there. Put this bad boy back up here. I had to hold it a minute. So. Oh, daggum. That wasn't cool. I just got to hold it in place for a while. So this is when I have time to read the chat. Um, they say super glue is the best thing as far as sticking. I'm not worried about having to hold it for a minute. I'm worried about it staying when it gets dry. So we got Deb and Yvette are in the same state. Look at there. That's one thing about having stuff like this, like having the live streams going. You find out very quickly where everybody's from. And see, that's holding now. But I'm going to let it stay just a minute because when I let go, I don't want it to slide. I think that's got that in place. This one's coming off. This white one's coming off. Where y'all at? Right there. This one's loose. So I'm going to fix it. Thank goodness Daddy picked me up some super glue. I had to have something that was going to hold this stuff on. Oh, she's in the falls. Now, see, you are where I want to be. I've never seen, you talking about Niagara Falls, Deb? Oh, Menominee Falls. I don't even want to know how you would pronounce that. Menominee. Menominee. I'm probably slaughtering it, but that's okay. How many of you like going to the lake and spending the day on the lake, and being outside and skiing and fishing and swimming and stuff like that? How many of you like the water? They just call it the falls because nobody can say or spell Menominee. Menominee. That's how you pronounce it right there, Menominee. Because there's two N's, two M's. It's got to be Menominee. That's the way it's spelled, so I would assume that's the way it's going to be pronounced. Now I could be incorrect, but if not, at least I gave it a good shot. Dadgummit. Yvette says good job. Okay, wait a minute. Menominee. Menominee. Isn't that what I said? Okay, so that one's stuck. Let's see. That one's solid. That one's solid. That one is. That one is. All right, that's the two butterflies. They stuck. This one's a little loose. I'm going to go ahead and fix it. There's a pink one on here that's falling off. Well, see, I'm like that too. I don't mind the sun. I just don't want to be out in the heat of the day. Try Waukesha. 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 So I guess you guys are going to be checking on me on my literacy, huh? But that's okay. Y'all do you. I'm well read, so there's probably not going to be a lot I can't pronounce. Just so you know. Need to go over. That's too lopsided. Let me see my shirt. I got to get that glue off. Come on. Hopefully I don't show y'all anything. There we go. I got it though. Yvette says, good job. Y'all want to give me any more words? I tell you what, Georgia's got their fair share of them too now, because we're down here where you got so proud of you. Thank you. We've got the Okeechobee, I think. We've got the Oconee. We've got Okefenokee. We got all kinds of crap up here. It starts with a zero, an O that's just complicated. Lake Oconee. Um, let's see. On the real, I know of Lake Oconee. I think my dad said something one time about Lake Okeechobee, Lake Okmulgee. Our lakes seem to be, or the Oconee River. The Oconee is a river. I don't know. We got so many bodies of water that start with an O. Okay, that one's stuck. That one's stuck. Stuck. I think that was the first one I took off. So I think I've about made my round around the pot. Yeah. All right. We got good glue now. All right. So I thought about it, and I think that we need a little bit more on the bottom of this pot, and I disagreed. Sometimes I'm going to disagree with you guys, and I could very well wind up being wrong, but we're fixing to try this and see how it looks. We have, let's see, we have got, I certainly didn't mean to do that, but it's okay. That one, gonna clip this one off. There we go. All right, 2 sunflowers. Where's the 2 butterflies? I had 1, had another one, 2. All right, and what I'm gonna do is down here at the bottom, a little on the high side, I'm gonna put a butterfly, and then I'll turn it around so y'all can see it. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put these just a little lower. Uh-oh, I got glue running. Got my shirt. Hold that butterfly in place. So, y'all got me working on all these hard words this morning, but you guys are so quiet. All right, that one's stuck. Dadgummit. Okay. So, put this here. Oh, let's put it there. Put these 2 butterflies right here together. Then I'm going to show y'all what I'm going to do with them. I should have turned this around and put these 2 butterflies underneath the other 2, but I didn't want to clash them. So, I guess it depends on which way you want to turn it, huh? I wonder where everybody's at this morning. We got somebody else live, or maybe they just don't like doing pots. It don't take that crazy glue long to catch it now. Now I want to put this one on. Just like this. Oh, we dropped down to 4. Everybody's gone. When I get this pot finished, I'm going to end the live because there's obviously something going on I don't know about. My numbers ain't been this low at 12 o'clock in the daytime ever, I don't think, except when everybody's just coming in. Chip, you watching over me, baby? My dad's dog is all the way at the back of the yard right here. He is curled up right beside the fence line where he has a visual on me at all times. And he's just laying right there sleeping. That dog is a protector. His job is to protect. He is territorial. He believes in his yard being just him, me, dad, mom, Mitzi, the other dog, and the boys. Anyone outside of that, you're going to have a bad day. Okay. That's pretty cool. Now, I'm going to put this one up here on the other side of the butterflies. We're going to put this one right here. Oops, don't slide. Well, that's good, Jen. It's too close. Go over just a little bit. There we go. Maybe not. So, anyway, it's been an interesting couple days. I've been battling with this pot now for probably, I would say it was day before yesterday when I started it. So, um, since I made it up until now, I've been trying my hardest to get the pieces to stay on it, and it hasn't worked out very well. So, there's the flowers on it, guys. This gives me a chance to fix these too because I have a couple of them too close together. You guys wanted them up at the top. So now that the paint's dry at the top of the pot, I need to fix this. What you think of it now, Jen? Are you Jen or are you Jeannie? Which one are you? Because it looks like it could be Jeannie. But I would think Jeannie would be with a G. But I could be wrong. So I'm just asking. Is it Jen or is it Jeannie? I've been curious about that for a while. That's holding better already. Now what I'm going to do is turn this way. And I'm going to pop this one right across from it, literally. Right across, right here. As they say with the glue, a dab will do you. Jeannie. So I'm right. It's Jeannie. I've been calling you Jeanne all this time and you ain't said nothing to me yet. I can't believe it. I just had a weird feeling that I was mispronouncing it. It has been so nice here. Let's see, the temperature is not on my phone, so I don't know what the temp is. Not this morning. Well, it might, but it's up there. I'm not going to take it off. I appreciate it, but it's glued now. There ain't nothing I can do. So mistakes are going to happen. I didn't want it to me, and I disagreed with it because the bottom just wasn't. The bottom just wasn't. It was bare to me, and it was driving me nuts. And everything else I had on here, I thought I'd throw the yellow ones up, but we learn. This can be one that I use to plant stuff out of. I just didn't like. I'm used to having something on the center of the pot on the bottom, and this time I wasn't able to do that, and I didn't. Holy smokes! Whew. I'm glad I caught that before it made a mess. But I mean, worst case scenario, if I get one that I really don't like, I'll put it in the. I'll plant my stuff in it. But to me, it just wasn't. It wasn't balanced in my opinion. Now I could be wrong, and I could have kept it off, but I like the yellow flowers, and I've been wanting to use them on something. And since we got butterflies, what goes better with butterflies and flowers? But now watch. Hi, Charlene. Watch what I tell you. Now, this is going to be the pot that sells. As soon as I put it on the marketplace, it's going to get popped. And Charlene says, "Hi, honey. I'm still at the church. I'm listening." That's fine, Mama. That's fine. I'm down to 3 people now. I'm just not popular this morning. Nobody likes me. All right. I think my mom and dad and them are also getting ready to go to, yeah, because it's 12 o'clock. They're getting ready to go. So they usually are in here with me, but not today. They're leaving at 1 o'clock. It's going to be so sad. All right, last one. I want it exactly across from that one. So about there, maybe. And then I'll take the wood out from under it and turn it around so you guys can see it. Jeannie says she doesn't like the flowers. And I may get good at calling you Jeannie, and I may call you GN. I don't know. That's just like Red Cactus. I told her when she changed her name, I was still going to call her Red Cactus. Nina, I've been mispronouncing her name since the beginning of the whole live stream. Everybody's called her Nina. Her name is Nina. Nina, and I will not call her that no matter what. It's going to be Nina till the day I die. So, nope, can't take it off. My hand's stuck to it. I'm holding this last one, waiting on it to get dry enough that I can take my fingers off of it. Yeah, it's okay. I understand. I think we all have a tendency to be that way. All right, now it's stuck. All right, let me put the lid back on this super glue because I am done with this pot. Anything else I do to it is just going to make it worse. Okay. So I think my glue for the pots is going to be super glue. And I need to find a big container of super glue, like a big tube, because I'm going to need it. These little bitty ones are okay. I got to have a bigger one. Of course, now it don't take as much super glue as it does the other kind of glue, and then it don't stick. Okay. Let me get the pot out from underneath this. I got it sitting on a log so I could bring it up where you guys could see it. Borrowed my dad's 4x4. So I'm going to turn it for y'all so y'all can get a good look at it. There's the two butterflies I put together. And there's the two sunflowers with the butterflies. And yeah, it's a little gaudy looking. Maybe I needed smaller ones. I don't know. But mistakes happen. And that's the rest of it. That's the rim. We've got the medallions on the side right here. We've got these at the top right here. And then we got that pretty purple that everybody wanted. Even repainting the top, the purple still looks good. So what do y'all think? Of course he did. Of course he did. That tickles me because Stormtrooper is a blast anyway. This one's the one. I gotta fix something real quick, y'all. Hold on. That just came loose. Did it like, yep, it come loose. I'm gonna have to redo that. So the idea, and I'm not saying, I want you guys to understand before I say this, I'm not dissing on the way Stormtrooper looks, but thinking of him saying something sexy is hilarious. If you just vision, because he's so laid back and so cool, and he just don't care, and I've never in the history of time seen him in that kind of, realm of things. So that's funny to me, but that's just me. I love Stormtrooper. He's so sweet. I was glad to see him when I got on the lawn. I'll put it to you that way. Was I ever? All right, so we are done. I showed you the pot, and I'm going to let it dry. But before I do, I'm going to sit here and enjoy my time with you guys for a minute because I went live. It's only been an hour. I'm going to see who else shows up in here. But before I do, y'all hold on a second. I'm going to flip you guys around the other way. Camera. I'm going to change the angle. Just hold on. Facing back. I do not like to have my face on camera, especially when I look like I feel today. But I haven't really had. There's a difference between being beautiful and feeling beautiful. And I think feeling beautiful has a lot to do with your mentality too and what's going on with you. So I don't feel very beautiful these days. So if I don't feel beautiful, I'm not going to be on camera. I don't care what nobody says. Then again, in some aspects of the world, I've never considered myself beautiful anyway. I'm so country and homely and just damn tomboyish is ridiculous. So I try real hard not to I just don't worry about it. You only have a couple of times in your life to find somebody you really care about and love. And I just left mine, so it's very, very probable that I will grow old and let hair grow out my ears and let hair grow up my nose and just get bushy eyebrows. I just don't care no more. I'm tired of trying. Oh, they are absolutely beautiful. I have not had time to sit back and look at all of them. I've looked at about half of them, Charlene. And Uh, I saw some I liked, some I didn't. We'll get with it. I tell you what I'll do. When I end the live, I'll call you. And while I'm on the phone with you, I'll take a look at the pictures because I need to touch base with you on something anyway. My ex told me I wasn't going to age well. They took, that's the thing about men. They want you to think the whole time you're with them, not all men, but most men. Well, not even most men. Sick and twisted men. Maybe that's the way to look at it. That you are just so ugly that nobody is ever going to love you again, but yet they sleep beside you every damn night. And they damn sure don't want you going nowhere. So there has to be something they're hanging on to, because I look at it this way: if you don't like me, just tell me, I'll get the hell away from you. If you don't like what you see, then it's time to go. That's the way I look at it. Now, I could be wrong. I could be looking at it wrong. I could have my opinion, but that is my opinion. They're going to sit here and tell you, and I'm talking about controlling men. I'm going to sit here and tell you, if they sit there and tell you about how you'll never do this and how you're never going to find another person to do this, and da-da-da-da-da, all they're trying to do is keep your self-esteem so low that you don't think you're ever going to have that. And as long as you think you're never going to have that, then they can control you. I think it's, and it's all about control. And after a while, if they keep telling you, you'll believe it. That's for sure. So I don't care what happens to me at this point. I mean, as far as romance and who I live with and who I die with and yada yada, I lost that dream about 2 months ago. So it's all done for me. I'm done with it. I won't ever let a man get close to me again. I can assure you, if I do, only God is going to divinely intervene. Because I'm done hurting. I don't want to ever go through this crap no more. Because when you really love somebody, it's painful. When you don't give two damns whether you're with them or not, it's a whole different ball game. But when you love somebody, it hurts. So I'm just done with that mess. I lost entirely too much this time. And when I say I lost a lot, I'm not even talking about materialistic things, although the materialistic issues are the things that I have, that the material things I have meant something. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But that stuff generally can be replaced. But as far as me ever getting that close to another person, I won't ever do it again. I didn't want to do it this time. There was a part of me that was hesitant, because I know kind of what I deal with better than anybody else. I know the situation with my kids better than anybody else. I know the stuff that nobody else would know. And there was a large part of me that was proceeding with caution, especially the closer it got to the move. I was real hesitant, and even mentioned it to him and said, I'm real iffy about this, because if I would have never went up there the second time, I think I'd have been a lot better off. I know damn well I would have healed easier. But hey, y'all be careful. And I love y'all. Okay? Be careful. Yeah, you call me when y'all back on your way home. All right. That works for me. Love you, Daddy. So, yeah. You just never know how things are, or how things will go, or how things can be. But then again, if you give up on life before you live it, what's the point? So that's the way I eventually had to look at the situation. So, but when you've been burned one too many times, this was like it had been almost 10 years since I had even thought of being with someone. So I just, I won't ever do that mess no more. God's going to have to step in because I'm not going to do it. He's going to have to drop the man on top of my head right in front of my dadgum face and just about half kill me by landing on me for me to pay him any attention. Because it ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. And, but going back to the control and the way men control things or try to control things, if you ever deal with a man that's constantly belittling you and making you feel like crap, then he just wants to belittle you and control you and keep anyone else from having you. You are just like his car. You are like his money. You are a possession, and he wants to control and hold you. And I don't think men like that ever really love anyone. I don't think they're capable of love. And if they could love someone, they would love them like they should and the way most people perceive love, instead of using their domineering self to make a woman so afraid of them they're afraid to leave. And that becomes a lot more skewed and complicated when you've got children involved, children that y'all had together. It's a lot damn easier for a man to put a woman out when the kids are not hers or his. I found that out myself. So, and then sometimes, even though the kids are theirs, they still don't care. They just don't care. And when a man can put a woman and children out on the street and he's the father of them kids and he don't give a damn what happens, he wasn't nothing to begin with. And y'all had nothing to begin with either. So at least in my circumstances, I understand a lot more where he was coming from because, my kids are complicated. They come with issues. They don't come with an instruction manual, but they're also not typical children. There's things about these when you try to take my situation and you compare it to a normal parent, that's not fair to me because this is not a normal parenting issue. And even Charlene can tell you that when it comes down to this being like normal children, Charlene and Nina both can tell y'all, and I guarantee you, I'll let y'all answer. Nina, are my kids normal as far as the comparison between normal families and mine? Charlene, is it? I'll let y'all answer it. These two ladies know more of my story than anybody I know. These two women have heard me. I've got on the phone with them and cried my heart out to them many a day. And if anybody knows, these two ladies do. So Charlene says no. Because she's heard the whole story. Oh, yeah, that's right. But Nina would tell you the same thing. I assure you. I assure you, Nina would have quickly put a no up there. And, yeah, it's not normal. What I deal with has not been normal at all. And I don't care what kind of book they write, they're not going to cover it. I don't care what kind of, I don't care what they do. They're never, ever going to be able to compare my experience raising my two boys to anything they got in a book. So it won't ever happen. It just won't. And a lot of people just assume they know everything, but they don't. So just like the workers that come out to your house to investigate to see if you're abusing your kids. The dumbest thing I think they ever do was send a person that works for that department or that agency that don't have children himself. And you're like, what? Then how can you tell me anything? Because the only thing you know about raising kids, you read in a dadgum book somewhere. So you tell me how you have any clout to tell me what I'm doing wrong and what I'm not. Because there has never been a worker that's come to my house that has ever seen any mark on my kids. Ever. Ever. Never, never. But they can tell you how to raise kids, although they ain't never raised one. That's like somebody trying to teach you how to paint correctly that ain't never picked up a paintbrush or anything else for that matter, or to build a house that ain't never drove a nail in a board. I mean, would you hire someone to fix your house that didn't have no experience with anything? As far as if they've never worked on a site, but yet they could think they can stand there and tell you how to do it yourself or what everybody's doing wrong or whatever. Yes, as a matter of fact, just forgot. I'd forgotten you had went to the store. So Nina, now that you're back, I'll let you answer this question. When people want to group women together that are having or even parents in general together that are being well that are people will compare any situation, let me put it to you this way, people will compare any situation to a normal household with normal children problems. But what I'm trying to get everybody in this chat to understand and Charlene's already said one, and I use the two of you because y'all know better than anyone what I've been through because I've talked to y'all in depth about it. Would you ever say that the situation that I'm dealing with my kids is normal? Yes or no? That these are normal kids with normal circumstances that normal parents get. Is it normal? And I'm going to let Nina answer that question because Charlene already has. You see, and Nina says no. And it's not. I mean, even you guys in chat don't have any idea of what I'm really dealing with. You just don't. They are, well, yeah, it's not even ADHD. The ADHD is not my biggest problem. When you've got a bipolar child, that changes the way you have to do everything. And I'm saying that when you're trying to raise a child that you can't reason with, or you're trying to raise a child that you can't communicate with, or that you can't teach, or that just don't give a damn the difference between right or wrong, or whatever it is that is the issue. Because if you've got a child that just don't care in general because of things going on with them, then you're going to play hell trying to teach them anything, or they will never feel the human emotions in people that keeps them from doing things to hurt other people. Then you just don't realize. Nina says these kids have a handicap, but because they look normal, everyone expects them to act normal. That is correct. That is correct. And you just get to a point where if your child doesn't give a damn one way or the other, whether they are right or wrong, or whether they hurt other people in the process, then that is something you can't teach them. It's not something you can give them a prescription for and substitute. It's not something you can't do it. I mean, it's just not possible for you to give them that. You're not going to be able to bottle that stuff and sell it to a consumer, and that the patient takes it and it actually do anything of the nature. If you don't have a conscience, that is not something you can fix. Okay. And now some of you may be sitting there going, well, surely she's got to be joking about him not having a conscience. No, I'm not joking. I'm not kidding. And what did you find out of, what's your experience with that, Yvette? See, I've got the kid that they won't even leave in a normal special ed class. He has to be isolated and by himself. All right, Charlene, love you. You have a good morning. I tell you what, you call me when you're through with the church, because I got to talk to you, okay? I got to talk to you, so you call me. You know, when you got kids that just, I've told so many people before that, you know, I was a parent that couldn't get a babysitter. I was a parent that couldn't put them in after school clubs. I was the parent that couldn't do none of that. Good morning, Uno. How are you? It's good to see you back. The little bit I know, you have your hands full. I understand a bit, though. My youngest had autism. My son has a touch of it, but that ain't his problem. And yeah, I do. It is on a daily basis, it's like living in just sheer hell, because you can't have nothing because of their choices and the ramifications that those choices have on you as a single parent. And then when you're doing it by yourself, if you've got a couple that one is the mother, one's the dad, if you got a couple that birthed a child together and they stay together, then the two of you together, you might be able to do a little bit more than I have been able to do with mine. But as a single mom, it's been very, very hard. Nina says, I opened my own daycare because no one would keep my son. That's correct. Nina is, I can tell you that I could not have made it through all of this stuff without her, because she had a son, I won't say identically to mine, but the parallels are so similar that it's scary. And she knows exactly what I'm talking about. And before I even say things, she's like, I know. It was like that with mine. I know firsthand what you're going through. I know. And not a lot of people can say that. You know, when you ain't got daycare, you don't have after school programs, you can't put them in sports, you can't put them in Boy Scouts, you can't put them in anything. And then be able to stay. The teachers can't handle them. The classmates can't handle them. The after school program directors cannot handle them. I mean, my son went into the Boys and Girls Club, went into the administrator's office and literally took, well, I mean, yes. And being a single mom is hard enough on its own. Uno, being a single mom is difficult enough on its own. But when you've got a child or children that something's not right with one of them, and I'm talking about something not right, bringing a very broad term, it'll never be the same. I mean, it's just, it doesn't matter what you do, you are railroaded any way you turn. And when you don't have that opportunity or that out, you don't have, in other words, me and Chris have been together our entire lives because he cannot go anywhere other than school. And the only reason that he can go to school is because they can't deny him school. They cannot say, no, you can't go to school, because there's laws against that. Now, I did have one of the school systems that my son was in that they sent him home every single day. Every single day they were calling me, telling me to come and get him. Now, I was working at the time, so I'm going to ask the chat. If you got to leave work every single day to go and deal with your child, and then basically sit at home with him all the rest of the day because he got kicked out of school, you don't have anywhere you can send him. I don't have a best friend's house. I don't have a sister or brother's house. My dad always lived too far from me. So when you're in that situation, then you tell me what that's going to do to your job. Anybody tell me what would happen as an employer? What would happen to me? I'm just waiting on the chat to pop up because I know somebody's going to answer the question. Your boys are becoming young men. They need their dad now. Well, absolutely they do. But you know what? Their dad don't even want to really commit right now. One day he's for it, the next day he's not. One day he's for it, the next day he's not. So, and he is the only alternative I have. Point blank. Just to give you guys an example, I found my ex's current wife that he's had since he broke up with me, literally. Okay, Jeannie says employer would pull you in and give you a warning. No. And 4 warnings later, you're fired. Okay, when they look at you and say you're a damn good employee, but we cannot deal with you being gone constantly and having to leave every single day. So we're going to have to replace you. So what does that do? That causes instability in your home because that affects your money and your ability to pay your bills. You lose your house. You lose everything and you start over, and then you get situated and then you turn around and do it all over again. And you can't be stable in that type of environment. And as a single mom, I have struggled so hard because that man, he wants to tell everybody that it's all my fault, but he is his own worst enemy because it's just like I told him. We have a mutual friend that at any given time would have been able to reach out to me and say, you know, I need your phone number to talk to you about this and this and this and this and this. That he could have got my number through, or he could have delivered messages or whatever through me. But my difference is that I took the kids out of state, and I took the kids out of state that had nothing to do with him at all. One had nothing to do with the other. Okay. But sometimes you have to do what you feel is the most appropriate thing to do, even when you ain't got nobody that understands where you're coming from. So therefore you're making the decision all on your own. And sure, I've made my fair share of good and bad ones, but I've always had ultimately the best thing in mind for my kids. Uno says school was hell. I couldn't work and keep up with the school. Right. And that's where I was at. You can't, when you got a kid that just don't behave no matter where he goes, and he's got a rage problem and a temper problem, and he don't mind threatening the dadgum principal. He don't mind threatening his friends in school. He don't mind threatening the teachers. He don't care who he threatens and how he threatens them, because really and truly all he wants to do, depending on the situation, is be at home and up under me all day, because he don't want to have to go to school and do no work and deal with his teachers telling him what to do. And a lot of what Christopher's problem is is he don't want to be controlled at all. He doesn't want a parent. He doesn't want responsibility. He doesn't want to have things that he can and cannot do. This child at the age of 13 wants to live on his own right now. That's what he wants. But my problem is, if I could find a daggum school that I could send him to, give him what he wanted, that's exactly what I would do, because not only would it help him in the long run, but it would also considerably help me. And it's ridiculous. You know, and so over the past 14 years, I've not been able to hold a job. My license were messed up like back when my oldest son was in his, early years. Haven't been able to afford to fix that because I haven't been able to work normal like normal people. I've always been a single parent, so I've never been able to go in and just make that change and get that kind of stuff fixed. Because when you're not pulling an income because you got a kid that won't let you do nothing, you cannot ever fix that kind of thing. We have lived a paycheck from paycheck to paycheck my whole life because I've never been able to work with Chris. And the only time I've ever held a job and kept it is when I didn't have Chris. Like when CPS came in when they were little and took them because they wanted to call me a bad parent, I was doing the damn best I could do. It wasn't good enough by their standards, but I was doing everything I could. It just wasn't enough in their eyes. So, well, they may know how to manipulate kids, but I guarantee you one thing, even now, currently, I've got one of Chris's teachers that calls me almost every dadgum day trying to get me to sweet talk him on the phone to do what she needs him to do. It's not my fault you cannot dadgum get him to do what you want him to do. I told her real quick, I said, I have the same damn problem at home. I said, there's only so much he's going to do. I said, if he don't want to do it, he's just damn not going to do it. And he's been that way. He has been disciplined in every way I could think of consistently. I used discipline to try to take care of that when he was a toddler. Because whereas most toddlers, you can pop them on their hand or their thigh, and they don't want that no more. Chris would just look at you and laugh when you'd pop him. He didn't care. So, I mean, I have, how old is her? I don't have no female kids. Are you asking me how old I am? Or how old is the teacher? What's your question about? I don't know how old the teacher is. Don't care. If you ain't prepared to deal with kids, you don't need to be a teacher. And see, one of the biggest issues with Chris in school is they can't just put Chris out of school because he has an IEP. He's got an IEP. They can't just take him out of school. If they do, they're going to get a lawsuit because he's a special needs kid. He has an IEP. There is nothing. My son is 13, fixing to be 14 years old. And this is not something that just started when he started maturing and becoming a young man. This is something that has been going on since this kid was born. I knew within, I would say, I had no doubts at 6 months, but the suspicion that something wasn't right started as soon as he was born, because he was a very ill and temperamental child. He was demanding. He wanted it. He wanted what he wanted when he wanted it, and he would not accept no for an answer. That child would scream his daggum head off if you didn't stop what you were doing right then and give him what he wanted. And there was many a day I'd let him scream. I've always been like that. I'd lay him down because I knew how he was. Um, it's hard, but my situation to bet is a lot more difficult, and everybody's just gonna have to understand. If you do not, okay, let me put it to you this way, and I say this with not it's you necessarily a vet, but this is anyone. If you would like to hear my true story, get my phone number and call me, and I will tell you. And until you hear my story, you're not going to understand exactly what I am talking about on this live stream. Okay. There are some things that I'm just not going to get into and just vocalize on this stream, because there's always going to be that one person there that thinks they know everything, and they think that they can do this and this and this and this. Driven to distraction. Can you get a copy of that book, Nina, and send it to me? Because if you recommend that book, it must be something. Now, if anybody else had recommended it, I would have been like, well, I don't know. But yeah, that's what it comes down to. There are just some things I'm not going to say on this live stream on a day-to-day basis. I'm just not going to do it. But again, if you want to hear the real story of what pushes what I say, then pick up the phone and call me. I will tell you. I'm not going to tell just anybody, but people that I see in this chat, I will, because y'all are here all the time. But even some of y'all still don't realize what I'm dealing with. And when you got a son like mine, your life stops as soon as he's born. You know, my life ceased to exist the second this kid was born. And until I get him out of my house, I'm not going to have a life. That's why I just walked away from what I just walked away from. And how do y'all think that makes me feel as a parent, to know that I had to walk away from a man that I loved very much and leave him because of my children and their actions? And if you don't believe for a minute that that's why me and Deuce are not together now, then you need to think again, because that is the only reason me and Deuce are not together. And at this point, I just have to stop and say, well, what else could they possibly make me lose that I give a shit about? You know, what else could you take from me that you haven't already took? Because this right here, what they just did to me hits me harder than anybody will ever know. Because I looked at that man in his face and told him that I was going to love him when I walked away. And it wasn't fair, because I had to leave somebody I loved that deeply, because my son couldn't get his shit together and appreciate having a man in his life that wanted to do something good for him. Instead, what he did is he tore us apart, him and his brother both. But see, there's a story behind this that's coming out now that I didn't know. And that is just how much Christopher influenced his brother to do the crap that happened up there. Now, ordinarily, I would be suspicious of anything my youngest son says, simply because of the last year of my life. But now I'm going to tell you something. When your son talks to someone completely unrelated to you, that is not involved in this at all, and is what I would call a neutral contact of his, but an adult, and then he's going to tell them exactly what all happened. Number one, he doesn't have to worry about making me mad or me not believing him or believing him, because I'm not the one he's talking to. And number two, I just don't think it would be the first thing he popped up and said was, it was my fault, it was his fault, da 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 da, or whatever. I mean, I feel more honesty would come at him. Good evening, hot damn. I figure more honesty would come his way or come out of him when he's talking to someone to completely not related or tied into this situation at all. You know, and so there's not a lot of people that I know and have met in my lifetime that can deal with what I have dealt with in the last 15 years. There's just not anybody that I can think of ever that have dealt with what I've dealt with. But now I'm going, and Nina says, what's so aggravating is when they see the pain they are causing and they don't care, even though they are old enough to know better. Right. These boys know firsthand what they took from me. I tell them every day because I have been so hurt by this. Deuce was the other half of my heartbeat, y'all. He was my equal. He was my everything. And my kids took that from me. They made sure I lost him. They made sure I lost him. So I don't know what everybody expects me to do now that I'm here with them. And I've lost it all. But I tell you what, it's forever damaged mine and my kids' relationship. You can bet that. And what I'm fixing to do, or what I feel like I need to do as a parent now, a lot of people won't understand. But I'm going to tell you what, the one thing I do know is this right here. This isn't about Deuce, and it ain't about me. Well, that's not true. Hold on. This isn't about Deuce, and it isn't about the children. This decision is about me. Yeah, praying's not going to take that hurt away. Praying is not going to stop the feelings that I still have for this man. It doesn't matter what I do, it's not going to stop it from happening that way. You know? Deuce as a man, his hands are tied to a degree because I don't know a man that can deal with it. You know, there's just not a lot of men out there that can deal with it, and especially them not being his kids. So I heard Deuce himself say on many occasions to people that he didn't think I could overhear him talking to. I heard Deuce say, in all the time I've known children, I've never seen kids like this, ever. So I'm just going to let you know straight up. I lost a lot because of the decisions they made up there. And the whole reason I'm no longer there is because of their decisions. And what they don't realize is how much they have hurt me. So I don't think they should ever expect our relationship to ever be the same. They took everything that man felt for me and they killed it. Because by the time I left, he hated me, and he hates me now. He will not speak to me. And it's killing me because I wish I could feel the same way, but I can't. I can't feel that way about him. He didn't do anything really to hurt me unless it was in the last couple of weeks I was there. Now that was horrible. But as far as can they take the feelings I have for him, and just because I'm here, they expect me to be peachy happy and just not feel nothing? No, I can't do that. It's very, 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 very painful. And it hurts me to this day, every day. So I don't know what to tell everybody, but when I tell you I'm going through a lot of crap, I mean I'm going through a lot of stuff. They could very well, that's my, Nina, that's my, especially with Chris because of his temper and how he does things, that's my dad's biggest fear. So that's another reason that I'm fixing to do what I have got to do. because I have another child in this house I've got to consider. Regardless of what everybody thinks, if you had lived with my oldest one over the span of 14 years, you would see it very differently. Um, he is not, I mean, do you think for a second that he didn't try to sweet talk Deuce the whole time he was up there? Because he did. And actually, to my dismay, um, Deuce bought it hook, line, and sinker. I know better. I know to what extreme he's went through and manipulated his brother to make bad decisions. Now, I'm not saying that Aiden doesn't ever do anything wrong. That is not what I'm saying. And there's times when Aiden makes very poor choices. But there's a lot of times when Chris is in that background when you don't know it, but he's in the background pushing it. That makes you a good mom, miss? What makes me a good mom? Yvette, tell me, because I don't know what you're talking about. I tell you what, for somebody that's supposed to be a good mom, the system sure beat me up long enough. Because when you got a child like Chris, you also have CPS involvement that you don't welcome and don't want, but it's here regardless. I turn around and get a case closed. Chris turns around and opens another one. I get that case closed. He does something to open another one. And it was just a lifestyle, and I got sick of it. And I got sick of them telling me I was a bad parent when I was giving them 200%, not 100%, but 200%, because that's what it took. You couldn't come in with Chris half-baked. You had to come in there with him full force, or it wasn't going to work. You know, he's not going to, there's no way that child can take more from me in my lifetime than he just took from me. Well, a lot of people ain't going to understand what's fixing to happen. But I tell you what, my plan is I'm fixing to get Chris situated somewhere where he can be alone and he can maybe get some help. It's going to take me a while to find it because right now I'm just not finding anything out there that can actually help him. What the system wants to do is wait till he's 16 years old and he's broke the law when he's screwed his whole life up. They don't believe in actually stepping in and helping him in advance anymore. They want the kid to just be too far gone to get any help. They want it to be where, oh no, you've already mucked your whole life up. You're welcome to juvenile detention. But it was told to me through the sheriff that was here in town directly. The sheriff told my daddy, actually, and daddy passed it on to me. The sheriff told me here that he could stab me or his brother any day, and they would take him to jail overnight, and then the next day he'd see the judge, and they'd release him right back into my custody. Exactly, and that's a shame that they're like that, but that's why Chris keeps doing what he's doing. There's nobody to tell. The only person telling him no is me. The only person that's telling him, no, you can't do this is me. The system's not telling him that. He's never had to spend a night in jail. He's never went to like a bad, I won't say like, I guess you would call it a troubled kid's place because they won't accept him. All these little coddling schools that say that they accept troubled kids, that they're there for troubled kids, they won't even take my son. They won't take him. They won't take him because they don't want a kid to have the type of problems he does. But then also they'll call me and go, well, he's got to be able to stay kind of on his own and take care of himself. And I'm like, well, are you here to take care of kids that just need an alternative to living at home? Are you here to take care of troubled kids? Which is it? Because if you ask me, I think you're here to take care of kids that the parents don't want to be a parent no more. That is not what this is. I am freaking fed up, y'all. I am fed up. I am so beyond fed up, you will never understand how fed up I am. Let me go get my charger. I'll be right back. I didn't realize how dead my phone was. Y'all hang on a second. Oops, I almost turned the whole table over. Good morning, Carrie. So, what it all comes down to is this right here. I've been struggling I lived with my daddy 2 years ago. I'll explain this to y'all. Y'all just listen. Nina already knows this. So, Nina, you've heard all this before. But I lived with my dad 2 years ago, but because we lost everything again and just did not have a place that we could go other than my dad's. And so I moved in with my dad, but my dad was one of those people who was always judgmental of me when he would call me and couldn't talk to me because the kids wouldn't let me talk to him. Or they caused so much interference when we did try to talk that my dad just thought that they were out of control and wasn't being taken care of like they should have, that I was not doing as a parent what I needed to do. So when it all was said and done, though, and I moved in the house with him and he began to understand a little bit more of what I was dealing with on a day-to-day basis, then his opinion kind of changed, because then my dad could see exactly what I was dealing with firsthand instead of from a distance. You can't spend a couple of hours with a child and figure them all out. But he judged me for a long time because of that. My dad was like, I'm tired of every single time I call you at home, you can't talk on the phone because you're too busy dealing with the kids. You need to start teaching them kids that when that phone rings, they need to shut up. And I thought to myself, if you only knew how hard that was. And I told him, but he couldn't grasp it because he had never been around them like that. Because my dad really didn't have a lot to do with the boys up until that point, because I was always out of state. After I separated from their dad, it took me about a couple of years, but I got the hell up out of Georgia. And I had my reasons for leaving. Sorry about I ain't worried about that. Yvette, I don't get my feathers ruffled very much because of stuff like that. I just needed clarification. I didn't understand it, and that's all. That's why I asked you to explain. Nina says, my son is 41 now, has a good woman, and struggles with authority, but is a good man. And that's probably half of what Chris's problem is. He wants me to himself. He don't want another set of eyes on him. He doesn't want somebody else being involved that's going to take away from what he feels like is his attention. That's what it comes down to with Chris. He wants all the attention, and he was jealous from day one of me and Deuce, because he didn't like that. Of course, it was the first time I really ever had to deal with that. Watching him get all jealous and shit because I was with somebody that I cared about. And then I chose to spend my time with, and he couldn't handle it. And that's a lot of what led to this, that and just him in general. So, it's just, that's why when you guys hear me get upset when I'm on my live stream, it's not because I'm trying to make him mad. It's not because I'm trying to make anybody mad. It's not because I want people to think that, hey, after 2.5 months, I'm supposed to just rebound from this. No, that man was my future. I wanted to spend my life with him. I wanted to marry him. I wanted to spend my life with Deuce. I loved him, and still do every day. And every day I miss him. Every single day I miss him. But I understand at the same time it doesn't make it. I was hoping maybe we could work together to make some different decisions, but I understand where he's coming from. more than anybody, because there's been many a day I wish I could just walk away and never look back. It's not going to be okay. I've been hurting a lot, and I'm trying to hold it in and be strong for everybody, and I'm trying not to offend him at the same time, because the last thing I need is for him to be mad at me even more than he already is. But I'm going through a lot of shit. And it all the stuff that happens, all the stuff that did happen, even in the end, it didn't make me love him any less, and that's the most painful part. Is it doesn't matter. It doesn't take the way I feel about him away. I wish it did. It would be so much easier. But when you truly love somebody, you're stuck with the repercussions of it. That's why I should have stayed my ass in Georgia and never went up there. Hey, Carol. So I had that gut instinct. I should have followed it. Of course, I already loved Deuce by that point, too, so it would have been just as bad. But yeah, I've gotten to a point with my oldest one where, and he has been for years now, this ain't just something new. I've been trying to hold it together and get this kid to 18, but he's getting to be such a issue that I don't trust him, and especially with my dad now, because my dad, the last thing I need is my dad getting stressed out and having a heart attack, and or my mom, vice versa, having a heart attack. Both of them are older. Both of them's got heart issues. And now you talking about put a wedge between me and my child. If something happened to one of them because of the stress that my child's putting them under, there's going to be hell to pay. So, I mean, at this point, I've got to keep that from happening. Plus, I've also got to stop Chris from doing things to his brother. And I found out the longer I'm here, the more I'm finding out about what he did up there. Chris alone. Because it's unreal. He talks to his counselor. Aiden could talk to his counselor at school all the time. And that's where a lot of this is coming from. And she don't call me and tell me. But now she did call me one day just to verify some information, and she wanted to give me a heads up on some things that he had told me because of needing to know because of Chris. So there is a fine line right there. So, Carol, I love you, but you are avoiding me. I have called you I don't know how many times. I need to talk to you. But I keep getting your machine. So I may have a lot of bad days, y'all, because I'm very bitter. I'm bitter. I'm hurting. Just everything. One thing is for sure, you can't miss what you don't have or never had. But when you and up until I had get off me. Get off me. But up until the point where I actually moved to Texas and invested myself in what we had, when I made that move, that was my downfall. Because I should have known before I left what it was going to be like. I really did, actually. I knew. I knew what my kids were capable of doing. I guess I thought maybe Deuce would be strong enough as far as in their life, not Deuce being strong enough. But maybe I need to put it this way, that Deuce would be a strong enough role model to them that they would see the benefit of having him nearby. But Chris was just so damn jealous because it was taken away from his time that he didn't care. But Chris decided to do this crap before he ever left Georgia. I know. I got to talk to you, though. I tried to call you yesterday. But now, during the daytime hours before the kids get here, I will admit I stay pretty busy. Even Nina hasn't heard from me like she normally would because I've been busy. And when the kids get here, I don't have time for nothing. Once they get here, it's over. Me being able to have a phone conversation is over. The second they walk in the door, that's all over. So, okay, it's coming up now. I missed your call. And then I tried to call you back and I still missed you because I left you a message that said, tag, you're it. So, but I still have to touch base with you at some point. What you got to do after I get off live, Carol? Are you busy doing anything today? You got a game or something? Or are you gonna be home? Because I'll call you afterwards if it works for you. I got to touch base with you. I think this is the warmest it's been in the last couple of days here. I got to throw off my jogging pants and I might have to put on some damn shorts. I've already got a strapless shirt on because I'm trying to. Let me turn this around while I can see what the hell I'm doing. But yeah, we got 11 people in here now. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? But yeah, I just wish it was as easy for him to break everything apart as it was for me to, or I wish it was as easy for me to recuperate from what I left behind and try to forget it as it was for my child to kill us and break us apart. And I wish my son thought it was going to be easy to come back home and just act like nothing happened to, but he quickly found out he was incorrect. And I remind him every day that he's wrong. I don't know. Not that kind of help, I doubt. I don't think the school has that kind of pull. I really don't think they got that kind of pull. What he needs is something permanent till he ages out, because what he needs is to get because okay, Christopher's bipolar, and bipolar children have triggers, and Chris's trigger is his brother. And as long as the two of them are in the same house, it's never going to quit. Oh, and I'm one of his triggers too, especially if I use the word no. So, and that's another reason he resented me and Deuce being together, is because it wasn't that me and Deuce would not agree on things, or even that, but he had an extra set of eyes on him, put him that way. Instead of it just being me and them being able to basically railroad me because I was so overwhelmed with the situation that it was hard to know every little thing that they were doing. And they got away with some stuff because it was just like, I used to think I'm putting a fire out. One fire Chris created out, and before I can get the fire out, he's already building a damn another one. Fire being figurative, of course. Although he did burn my house to the ground when he was 5 years old. That's no lie. That's what they want to do here. The guy who texts me or the guy that I was dealing with, the CPS worker that I last asked, and I actually just called CPS to get some resources because I figure if anybody had resources for kids, you know, it would be CPS, right? CPS told me to take him to MHMR and get him back on medicine. I said, you've lost your mind. I'm not living with that child on meds because it takes his bipolar and it amplifies it by 1,000. It just makes him have severe rages. He's very destructive. He'll kill his brother. I mean, it's all I can do on a day-to-day basis to keep him from doing and hurting Aiden as it is. But you take the fact that he's medicated with it, and you would think the medication would help, but it don't. It takes his and makes it worse. And a lot of the kids that take medication, it does. Hell, there's a lot of adults that take medication, and it don't really help. If you in pain, they got plenty of painkillers they can give you to get you hooked on them, because that's what they want. Because if you're hooked on the painkillers, you'll keep coming back for more. Big Pharma just makes more and more money. But there ain't nothing that Big Pharma is going to do to you on a day-to-day basis that's actually going to make you better, depending on what it is. Cancer treatment, they could have cured cancer back in 1960. Big Pharma would have lost too much damn money by doing it. I'm telling you, the medication is not designed to make you better. The medication is designed to make your ass more unstable. Yep. And that's what they want me to do. In order to receive help for him here in the places that I've looked, he has to be medicated. And that's the first thing that everybody asks. You got him on medicine? Nope. And he ain't going back on it either. And you know, there's going to come a day when you don't medicate your kids, and they're going to try to say that it's child abuse. Well, my child being medicated is parent abuse, but y'all don't give a damn. And it ain't just parent abuse; it's everywhere. It's abuse on all facts. Anybody that he's around, he's got a teacher again. He's got a social studies teacher right now that cannot deal with him. And he's not even being an ass in her room. He's just not doing his dadgum work. And he looked at her and told her, I'm not doing it. So you can just go ahead and flunk me. Well, okay. Well, his little butt's in band this year. And when he gets to a point that he really enjoys band and he brings home 3 or 4 F's on his report card, guess what? There goes band. So, nope, we've tried that. Yep, meds equals money. That's all they're worried about is the more meds they require, the more money they make. They don't give a damn whether these kids ever get better. As a matter of fact, that's the last thing they want. They don't want them to get better. They don't care how it influences the family. They don't care how it filters out on other kids. They don't care what kind of problems the child has, what kind of mistakes he makes. The only thing them people give a damn about is whether you keep buying their medicine. Okay, somebody in here look up the cost of, let's say, Ritalin, the gross cost of it, before insurance and all that. Without insurance, how much does Ritalin cost? And then put it in chat. So I made a few changes. If you missed it, Carol, you might want, anybody that came in here after I wasn't painting anymore, you might want to back up and just look at the changes. No, 1 or 2 of them didn't care for it, but I was really, really getting to a point where I didn't like the fact that the bottom of the pot was not decorative. So I added a couple things. And I went ahead and I fixed a lot of spaces on it that was messed up. My little silver flowers I had it on the rim of the pot kept coming off. It didn't matter what kind of glue I put on them. It didn't matter if I taped them. The glue still wasn't setting. So my dad picked up me some super glue and I popped them bad boys back on there and they ain't going nowhere now. I had some of the flowers and butterflies that were loose. I fixed those. I repainted the top. And I added some sunflowers and 2 butterflies in the middle of those sunflowers on the bottom of the pot. Then they keep them in school until they're 21. The punching bag thing isn't going to work. We tried that. It doesn't work. I have tried everything I know to get him to actually take his anger out on something else. But when he would rather beat up on his brother than beat up on a punching bag, there ain't nothing you can do with that. That's his bipolar. He knows his brother is younger. His brother is scared of him. His brother is a lot of things. He also knows that he can intimidate and bully his brother, and that's why he enjoys it. That's why he'll never quit, because he enjoys it entirely too much. So regardless of what anybody thinks and what they don't think, and regardless of whether you think you know what I'm dealing with or you don't, unless you have been where I'm at, there's no way anyone can relate. Ritalin, $100 to $82. Is that without insurance? That's just like my inhaler. I had an inhaler prescribed by the doctor that was $700 without insurance. So don't tell me that they're not trying. If these people really wanted folks to get well and be better, then the medicine would be way cheaper. And they would actually do better if they lowered the price of medicine, because more people could afford it. But there's a lot of people, especially older people and single moms and dads, that when you have to choose between buying medication and feeding your family or paying your bills, that's ridiculous. My son said when he went to school, kids would be fine after their meds. He said they couldn't even talk. Right. And that's the way it is. It zombifies them. It either zombifies them or it makes them mean as hell. And when my mom looks at my boys and tells them that they're just plain out hateful, when she looks at them and says, "You're mean just like you always have been," then there's a problem with that, because I've never heard her call a child mean in my entire life, ever. People just don't talk about children like that. And this is their grandma. Yeah, because by the time you take a child like mine or Nina's and you medicate them, the mother's so damn relieved to see a little bit of difference, but then slowly but surely that medicine starts counteracting itself. And it don't take long. Because again, if medicine did what it was supposed to do, Big Pharma would lose money eventually. You know, you can't expect a pharmaceutical company who, and I say Big Pharma because that includes all of them. And there are people in Big Pharma that controls what is released and what's not, and what helps the public and what doesn't. Just like they silenced Donald Trump's miracle drug and kept saying that it was this and it was that and it don't do this and it don't do that. They either wanted to scare people from believing in it, or they wanted to censor the truth about it. But what it all boils down to is their protocols. While we were on lockdown, their protocols was killing people left and right. And for every person they put on them protocols, they got paid handsomely for it. The hospital did. And they broke it down to each diagnosis, each treatment, and each death. Each one of those they got paid for. And then for everybody who died of natural causes or for other things, they dropped a little $100,000 benefit in front of them to try to get them to change their death certificate results. So, you know, don't tell me that they didn't have an agenda with that whole thing, because yes, they did. And they wouldn't let nobody in the hospitals, because you'd look at it this way. If they had done the same thing with people not being on lockdown, it would not have taken long for all hell to break loose, because families would have been in the hospitals with their people sick. The families would have known what was going on and would have busted them. So they had to have a reason for you not to be able to be in that hospital to take up for your loved ones. And that's exactly how they got it done. Yeah, it is. And it does, Chris. It works on. But see, Chris's problem is not his. My problem with Chris is not his ADHD. My problem with Chris is his bipolar and what it does to him. There is no natural remedies for what is going on. Right now, they are currently on melatonin, which is natural to help them sleep at night. But beyond that, my kids don't take medicine. And if there's anything that is counterproductive that's natural to his bipolar, somebody needs to find it, because I damn sure can't find it. And if it is out there, you bet your bottom dollar Big Pharma is silencing it. They don't want people to know that you can take something grown in your damn yard to counteract it. Just like they don't want people to know that there's stuff that grows in your front yard and backyard that you can use for medicine, or for a nerve pill, or for cancer, or for a rheumatoid, or whatever. There's stuff that grows in your yard that they have deemed over the last 60 years as a weed that medicinally is the best thing in the world you can put in your body. But they don't want you to do that. They want you to pay the astronomical price for their medicine they have. Of course it works. And we have some of it. We have it. I've had COVID 3 times, never once had ivermectin. But now I guarantee you one thing, ivermectin would have taken what they were dealing with and what everybody was sick with and would have worked. But see, what they wanted to do, they had it set up where only Big Pharma could benefit from it. And when you've got an organization like the you know, what is it? American Medical Association and the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, those two entities alone and the people that run them is what kept us from being able to find out the truth to what happened in 2020. And then it all came out. It's just such a convenient time right before an election. And that's what they're fixing to do to us again. And if people don't stop and pay attention to it, then they're idiots. Because next year is an election year, and everything that they have attempted to do to stop Donald Trump from getting into the office has not been, at this point, unsuccessful. As a matter of fact, the more they do to him, the more people are voting for him. So that's being counterproductive. And I'm telling you, they're going to put us in lockdown right before the election so they can cheat like hell again this time. And it just is what it is. The lockdowns were to sway the election because they had to have a reason to bring in all them damn mail-in ballots. Now look at the country and the way it's been run since Biden took office. If you can't see what that man has done to destroy the economy of this country, then you ain't paying attention to politics at all. If you cannot answer why you don't like Donald Trump or that you support Biden, you don't need to be voting. I think there should be a questionnaire before you vote, and if you can't answer them damn things, they ought to permit you from voting. If you don't know what Biden's done in his term, and they ask you a question about it, then guess what? They need to withhold you from voting. If you can't come up with a reason besides Trump being a racist as to why you don't vote for Trump, then you need to daggum be denied the ability to vote. If you cannot say without certainty, with certainty, what the motive is and what you think are their voting rights or whatever, there's going to be something that you don't comprehend. But the average person who pays attention and sees what's going on can probably answer those questions. But if you can't pass a questionnaire about why this is the way it is, then I think that would be a really good way to fix it. Test everybody before the election. If you can't pass a damn test, you ass don't vote. My son, it's not a food issue. It is not a food issue. I have never been the type of mom to give my kid a lot of sugar because of his ADHD. I mean, because of the ADHD, I stayed away from the sugar. You know, and Carol, you might be right on the ADHD child, but on a child like mine with bipolar, that's not true. My child enjoys making my life a living hell. He enjoys making his brother's life a living hell. He enjoys, and you know what? I'm going to say this for the record. He reveled in the fact that he was like, in my opinion, me and Deuce differ on this, and we do, but he is 100% responsible for what happened up there. And I will say his brother is 75% responsible. But his brother, 100% responsible for what happened up there and me having to come home. And that joker has the nerve to sit here and try to smile in my face and tell me he loves me after what he has done. I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, the dyes are bad for you too, especially Kool-Aid and all these artificial sweeteners and colors and crap. And that's why my kids don't eat sweets. They don't eat a lot of Jell-O and crap like that. But every daggum thing that we're eating is bad for us. It's not just those. I mean, if you read the ingredients on your containers and you see something you don't know what it is, look that crap up and find out what it is. Because there ain't no telling what the hell it is. Because everything that we know as this and this and this and this has got a biological name that most people wouldn't know if they saw it. I've always been told that red dye is the worst thing you can give a child. But they're putting crap in our food anyway. That's why Americans are so unhealthy. It ain't even, and then they want you to think, well, it's all because you eat fried food. Yeah, that ain't helping none. But that's not the biggest issue, because my stepmom has ate healthy all her dadgum life. And she ain't never been bigger than a minute. She's about Carol's height, if not shorter. And I think she told me the other day she was 5'4". So you talking about, you got a lady 5'4", and she might at the heaviest been 125, 130, maybe 140 pounds at the most. And this is back when she was younger. But now she's 125 pounds and she ain't big as a minute. But this woman has always cooked veggies for us and stuff of that nature. But until she found out the GMOs were the enemy, she didn't change her diet. And we didn't change ours because she fed us, you know. And so the food that we eat is our number one enemy. That's why they don't want nobody growing their own crap. That's why they got people thinking that the stuff that we put on our food to keep the bugs and shit off of them is what's harming us. It's not. It's the shit that they're putting in the food that's harming us. It's not, you're not eating fertilizers necessarily. What you're doing is you're eating the plant that is able to be viable, because bugs will eat it if you don't. Just like if you have If you live in the woods, you're going to have a certain amount of bugs in your house because you live in the woods. You know, it is what it is, but bugs eat plants, and they will eat your plants, especially if you plant a garden. What is the point in taking all that time and all that energy to feed your family and grow enough produce for everybody for them to be used to can and stuff around the world? My mama, she will take tomatoes, meats, you name it, veggies, whatever. She can put them daggum things in a jar and seal them up with the canning process, and they will be just as preserved as they are on the shelf in the grocery stores. But she don't put all that bad shit in them. Well, you're 4'11", so you're a little. Oh man, you're like 5 inches shorter than her. So you're a little bitty old thing. So that's hilarious. But no, I mean, what it comes down to is this. You can say, I don't trust nothing the government tells me anyway. If they tell me to keep my kid away from it, then chances are there's a good possibility it might actually be good for them. I don't taste. And if I prefer stuff grown in the country, in the fields, and if my kids one day are going to eat, that's what they're going to eat. Because I may not have no heirloom seeds now because I left my heirloom seeds in Burleson, but my heirloom seeds, I will replace them, and I will feed my kids out of the ground. But see, the reason my plants didn't make it in Burleson is because there was one thing that wasn't available in Burleson that we needed, and that was pollinating bees. If you don't have bees and butterflies and things that pollinate your crops, then your crops are not going to grow. They will grow and be beautiful plants, but you won't have no produce. So what it all comes down to, guys, is that you got to have nature to make things grow. So, yeah, because you got a lot of foods that turn to sugar, and cancer. If you want to cure cancer, the first thing you do is cut sugar and anything that turns to sugar out of your diet. My dad, the cancer he had a very, 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 very low survival rate. Very low. When we found out he had cancer, they told us right off rip that there had been one case of survival in all the cases they had. And they turned around and they paid attention. My mama looked it up and found out what he did differently, and he cut the sugar out of his diet completely, and all things that turned to sugar. And since she was the one who cooked for him, she did that, and she cut sugar out and anything that turned to sugar, and it starved that cancer to death. Also, you never know what is in the rain. That's why they don't want you to collect rainwater. Rainwater is the best thing for plants you'll ever find. Period. Period. You take two plants, you take one plant to where it can't have access to rainwater, and then you take another plant where it does, and I guarantee you that plant that's getting rainwater in it is going to be 4 or 5 times the size of the one that doesn't. So that's what I'm saying. They got you thinking that the rain's unhealthy for your plants. That's a lie. The Mother Nature has been making plants grow for thousands of years. The trees grow very well because of rain. Weeds grow very well because of rain. A garden will grow very well because of rain. But they just want you to think that rain is not good for you. Because what's bad for you is city chlorinated water. That's what's bad for your plants. That's what's bad for your body. But you know what? I'm not fixed to put my kids back in that situation. I've lived with my child long enough. I know what works and what don't. I know what's going to work and what won't. I know medication ain't the answer, and I won't ever go down that road again. I don't care who tries to tell me that that's what I have to do. I will not do it. What it comes down to is this child has a will of his own. He has a conscience of his own. He makes the decisions on what he can do and what he can't. If this was a 7-year-old child, I would look at this completely different. But this is a teenager fixing to be hell because of his teenage years. As if the rest of his life with me has not been hell. I can't deal with teenage years if they're going to get worse than it is now. I understand that, but I think they are messing with our weather. I know they are. They've been messing with our weather for years. They sure are. And they're also putting shit in the atmosphere to make the rain worse. But normal, natural rain is good for stuff. Oh my goodness gracious. Y'all trip me out. So yeah, I mean, the situation, like I said, and what led up to all of this is the situation that the reasoning behind leaving Burleson. Although I completely understand where Deuce is coming from and why he made the decision he made and why he was concerned as he was, because I've dealt with it my entire life since the boys have been born. That's all I've dealt with, to a point that I'm bitter now because they took something from me that I cared a lot about, and then they want to sit in my face and laugh about it. I'm not the one. I'm just not. And I'm mad as hell, and I'm hurting like hell, and it's not easy to get through a day without having a bad day. But you know what? I know what I got to do, and I know that it's time for me to do something for me, because I can't keep doing this, and most of all, I can't keep losing shit that I love because of the decisions of one. And at some point, I had to think more of myself. I had to remember that I was just as important in this as anybody else. You know, a lot of people, they live their whole life for their kids, and most people do. And that's the way it should be. But when you've got one that doesn't allow you to ever have anything, it really changes things. And when you have one that outwardly ruins and screws up everything that you try to have that makes you happy, then it changes things. So that's what it's, I mean, you know, I'm at that point where I can't do this no more. I can't do it with him no more. The older he gets, the harder it's going to be to control him. That child's already out of control. And it's not because he hasn't been taught. It's because he don't care. There's a big difference. He won't take another damn thing I love from me. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you he won't take something else from me that I love. So I might lose half my chat. Everybody might get pissed off. Everybody might not understand where I'm coming from. And you ain't never going to. The only person in this room that knows exactly what I went through is Nina Rice. And Nina knows firsthand what I'm talking about. And she might be the only one in my damn chat, but that's okay. We'll start over from ground zero. So, but yeah, this time, the cost of the lost was so detrimental to me that there's no going back. I'm not going to give him a chance to. If he does that, he's going to do it somewhere else. He's not doing it with me. He's not going to do it with me. I can't do this no more. I can't do it anymore. I can't. That decision was made before I left Texas. I will not do this ever again. And as soon as I can find a solution for him, that's what is going to happen. It's not going to be, I don't care. I don't care if I have to send that child halfway across the United States. I'm going to find a solution for him. I guarantee you that. He wants to live on his own so bad. He don't want nobody telling him what to do so bad. Okay. And I tried to tell him that there is literally nowhere that he's going to go, especially when he becomes an adult. All the kids think it's so cool to be an adult if they only knew what we went through. And the only thing I can hope for Chris is that one day he's going to find out exactly what I had to deal with. I hope he has a son or a daughter just like him. I got you. Now, hot damn, if you got anything patriotic, you need to send it to me. Yeah, I'm done. Like I said, I'm done with it. I'm just done. My mind was made up before I ever left Texas. I mean, when I was sitting there in shambles before I had to go home, and I was trying to get my head clear and wrap my hand around what I was fixing to have to do. The longer and the more time that I've been here, the more bitter I became. I'm not bitter at Deuce at all. Because when it's all said and done, although I don't like what he did, I understand what he did. I understand where he was coming from. I get it. Does it make me not care about him any less? No, it don't. And that's where my problem comes in. I lost a man. You need to take care. Please, miss. Yeah. I don't care if he turns out twice as bad or not. If he wants to screw his life up from here on out, that's on him. See, that's what people don't get. You can only teach. Okay, what's that old expression? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. In other words, you can spend your whole life trying to make up and make this child understand the ramifications of what they do. But until it directly influences them, they're not going to get it. And they won't. Until it hurts them for the first time instead of hurting you, then they're not going to change it. And I have got to pull the safety net out from under this kid so that if he makes a mistake, he alone will be the one that deals with it. Hey, Jamie. I was just making light in the conversation because it angers me that you're upset. I'm about to cry for you. I don't want them to win and make you miserable. I'm already miserable. Listen to me, y'all. I left the man that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with because of my kids. There is no fixing that. There is nothing that's going to make my heart heal any faster. There is nothing that's going to take that pain away from what I feel every day. There's no way I'm going to recoup from it like my kids want me to. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. And yes, it pisses, and yes, I'm angry about it. Every day I'm mad about it. Every single day. So you guys can maybe one day everybody will understand. Me and Deuce didn't have a fight amongst ourselves and us have a bad relationship that ruined us. No, that's not what happened. I'm trying to pray, and only God can bring me back to him. Only God can make it happen. But let me tell you something. I have to do something for myself first. And that is, I can't do this with these boys no more. If they are willing, well, at least the oldest one, if they are willing to put themselves and their happiness above mine, and not only that, above Deuce's as well, because of the damage they done to him individually. If they're willing to do that, then we have an issue that is never going to be fixed. Because if you got a kid that doesn't care that his mom is hurting now that he sees me in so much pain, this kid doesn't give a shit. So there's only so much a person can do, and there's only so much a person can endure in their lifetime. And what happened up there was the final straw for me. I will not allow my child to hurt me anymore. Do y'all understand that I'm not going to let it happen? Yeah, and he's fixing to get it too, Miss Gator. He sure is. He is fixing to get that rude awakening, and I'm going to make sure of it. No, he don't. No, he don't, Jamie. That's where you're wrong. No, he doesn't. He did what he did, and it was planned before he left the grounds of Georgia. It was planned before we ever left here. He had it in his mind that he was going to do what he did, and he made sure that he did it. So I doubt, no, you're not going to tell me that deep down inside he cares. He's not going to care until he understands that kind of pain for himself. He's fixing to get it too. He's that rude awakening. You bet your bottom damn dollar he's fixing to find out what it is. Because I am absolutely done with this mess. I am done. No, tough love. I've already done tough love. Tough love doesn't work. This child does not have remorse for anything that he does. If he don't have remorse, you only have to feed, clothe, and house him. Everything else is what a parent does as extras. Nope. I don't even have to do that no more, and I'm not going to. He's going to get what he wants. He wants to be away from me and away from his brother. As long as his brother lives in this house, he's going to be a stumbling block because he's a trigger. And if I find out later that Aiden is an issue, as far as if I'm wrong and Aiden is not the biggest problem, and I made a mistake on that calculation, I will deal with that when it comes to head. But right now, that boy has taken more from me in my lifetime than I can ever tell you. He has hurt me more in my lifetime than you will ever know. I am done. I am done. He is the most disrespectful child I have ever seen in my life. He does not care who he is being ugly to. He doesn't care if it's me, the teachers, it doesn't matter. That was the plan, but after this past weekend, I doubt very seriously that's going to happen, so I better start looking for something else. That man has never done nothing for these kids. Chris gets just about 99.9% of his mannerisms and shit from his dad. He is just like him. That's why we are no longer together. I can't deal with it, and I had a choice to leave, and I did. But now I got a son that is identical to him, mannerism-wise, personality-wise, everything. It's like living with his dad all over again, and I always said I wasn't never going to do it, but I tell you what, I let my child know real quick that he's not going to do this to me again. I'm not going to allow it. I'm not going to give him a chance to. Yes, he will. He is 13. He's been this way since he was 6 months old. His dad ain't never wanted to do nothing for him. He's never that man has never made a child support payment. He's never done nothing. Nothing. I have raised his son on my own without his help since he's been born. And because of him not being able to be anywhere, whether it be school, it doesn't matter where he's at, I've suffered for it. And that's why I have the baggage I have still to this day, because when you get a job and your employer looks at you and says, you're never here, I'm going to have to let you go just over and over and over and over. Well, what the hell are you supposed to do? I can throw him out when he's 16 legally. I still got 2 more years. I'm not going to give him that long. He don't have 2 more years to live with me. He damn sure don't. I've already talked to the police, Gator. The police told me that he can break any law he wants to break, with the exception of maybe murder. It's okay if it's attempted murder. Attempted murder's cool, because then what they'll do is they'll rehome him right back into my house. After he sees the judge, they'll let him go and bring him right back to my house. The only thing that I know of that would get him in trouble before the age of 16, enough that they would do something with him, is for him to murder somebody. Attempted murder, they'll let him get away with it. And that was coming out of the sheriff's mouth of this county. And you know, Deuce tried, and I know he did. Does it help my heart knowing that he tried? Not really. Because I still love him to this day. But I don't blame him for not wanting to be involved in all this, because it could get him in trouble just as good as it could me. Does it stop my heart from loving him? No. Is there some way, somehow, that maybe we can meet halfway? Maybe, but he's got to be willing as I am. I just don't know if there's an answer for us, but I can tell you this. I still love him as much today as I did the day I left. So that's a part of me that's being tortured. That's the torture for me right there. And it is. Milton Hershey School, where is that at? And then you got to be a little more specific. You need to tell me a little bit. You need to call me, because I don't know where it is, but I don't mind getting a flight and taking him where he needs to go. You damn right I don't. But now I'm going to tell you something. I've got to have a place to stay while I'm working it all out. So now detention home, they won't send him there, Carol. They won't. He's got to get in trouble enough to get there. Military school will not accept him here or anywhere else until he is 16. Everything you guys are telling me, pretty much I've already checked out, so I can tell you. Military school, he has to be 16 years old. Yeah, well, there's a bunch of schools that's for troubled kids, and every single one of them want $11,000 a month tuition. Or yet my child is too damn mean and has too much history for them to take them. And I can't tell you how many places I've called that said, we can't take him, he's got too many problems. Well, see, I don't know nobody in Pennsylvania. I am so far away from Pennsylvania and I don't know nobody up there. I wouldn't have a place. I can't afford to take him to a place like that, unless when he gets there, it's going to be an immediate enrollment. It would have to be in order for me to do it, and even then, it would be tough. I'll give him a call, is what I'll do. Now, I'd have to find somebody close enough to them, to the school. I have to find somebody close enough to the school that I can stay with while I'm getting this all done. Okay. Now, could I stay? I hate to ask, but I'm just going to say, if I call this school and I get this set up, would you have a couch I can sleep on until I can get it done and get home? And then I'm going to have a way to get there and back because I'm not going to have a car. Thank you. I'll call them. I'll call them. As a matter of fact, I may call them when I end the live. Carol, can you text me their phone number? Don't put it in here. Send it to my phone. And then, Jamie, I will follow up with you on it because I've got your direct number. Hi, Tracy. I've been live for 3 hours, y'all. I'm fixing to get off here. Y'all pray for me because I'm going through a lot of shit. She didn't. She sent it to my phone. I just saw it pop up there. I need their number. I want to call them. If they're willing to take him, I'm willing to take him up there. I'll fly up there. I don't know where I'm going to get the money from, but I will go. It'll probably cost me $200 extra just to fly into Pennsylvania. That's a liberal state. Tracy, this would be a good live for you to back up on and rewatch. A lot of stuff has been talked about in this live. We started out fixing the pot, and we've covered a lot of things. Fly to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. All right. Now, could you pick me up at the airport, Jamie? Y'all just pray for me because I'm heartbroken. I'm heartbroken. My heart is broken so bad. I'm glad you had a good morning, Charlene. I'll call you a little bit later. I'm fixing to end the live and get out of here. I'm just waiting on Jamie to text me back real quick. Nope, train's not going to be cheaper. A train is going to be way more expensive. I booked too many flights and I've looked when I went to DC, when I went to Washington DC, it was $600 and something to take a bus up there. When I came in by flight, it cost me less than $200 to fly. So the train is not cheaper. I was on the phone with Carol the other day and I showed her myself. I looked up the same trip by Greyhound. It was almost $700 for me and the boys to go to Florida. And it is going to cost us less than $150 to fly. So, okay, I got you. I got you. Thank you. I'll call them as soon as I get off the phone with you. Carol just sent me their phone number. And I will call them as soon as I'm done talking to you. And let's see if they can do anything. Because, and if you've got any other, if anybody has any other recommendations, please let me know, because right now I'm just not finding the answer. Deb, everybody, y'all have a good evening. I'm getting off of here. I'm going to end the live. Y'all have a good day, a blessed day. I got a phone call to make. My kids will be here in about an hour and a half anyway, and there ain't no sense in trying to be live with them here. So I'm going to put a video on. You may not like the new pot and some changes I made to it. If so, I'm sorry. But I changed things a little bit. My brother-in-law is a head psychologist at a boys' prison very close to me. I will get a hold of him also. But see, the problem with that is he's got to have a felony or a misdemeanor to get into a prison. I mean, it just is what it is. He's got to break the law. He hasn't yet, because I've always kept him from it. I have worked so hard to keep him out of trouble, and have done so. But when it all comes down to it, you guys y'all just pray for me, because this is like, it's heartbreaking for me, because I had to leave a life and a future that I'd so desperately wanted, and it sucks. Yes, now you can do that. That makes more sense. All right, everybody, do some research. Get back to me. If you don't have my phone number, reach out to me by email, and I will give it to you. I'd rather talk to you face to face than through an email. But I will find out what's going on real quick, and I'm going to check this place, and I'm going to get back to Jamie. I will text you and let you know what they say. As far as everybody else is concerned, y'all please pray for me, because like I said, this was a hard loss for me, y'all. I don't know how long it's going to take me to recoup from it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, because each and every day I'm reminded of what I left behind. Yvette, my email is on my Misfits page. It is www. Carol, can you pop a link up to that, please? www.thefreedommisfits.com is my email. Carol's fixed to pin it for y'all. Yvette, just hold on. Carol's fixed to pop it up there for you in chat. And then when she does that, I'm going to get off here. I'm just waiting on Carol. Right. And if and I know Carol's still here, so it shouldn't be but just a minute before she gets it up there. And see, you guys got to remember, nothing in my chat is underlined or lit up or in blue. Like a link, it's just words. It's a bunch of crap on my screen because I'm on StreamYard. Did I lose you, Carol? Or did nope, because Yvette just, I don't know. Anyway, Yvette, if she doesn't get it up there, go to my main page on YouTube and it's there. There it goes. The freedommisfits@gmail.com. That's correct. So there's the email. Write it down, Yvette. And anybody else that wants it, better write it down. Email me your phone number if you want to talk to me or have a suggestion. I'm open up to anything, but that's all right. I'm fixing to end the live so you can get back to company. Everybody, y'all have a nice day. Y'all pray for me because I need it right now. And I love y'all, and we'll see y'all on the next live.